Okay, recording has started. So welcome to the training. We're going to be having a look at some charts, discussing what we feel could be potentially happening in the upcoming weeks. Again, it's the stress that, and this isn't a disclaimer, it's just reality. We are not fortune tellers, but we try to make sure that we assess patterns and try to predict certain types of behavior, and also have things in place to adapt if those types of behaviors do not happen. So we have things in place to check again. So let me just get my screen shared, and we're going to look straight at some pairs that Andrew has mentioned. Let me, yes, share this desktop. You being in here, my friend, is not where you should be. Off you go, please, and close the door. Thank you very much. Sorry, my son just wandered in, just decided to loiter around looking at the floor as if he's dropped something in my room. He has not. Okay, that's what you call top quality parenting. So can everybody see my screen? Hopefully you can. I'm on GBP USD. If you can't see the screen, just type yes in the chat. Let me bring up the chat. I think the chat was up already, was it? Let me display the chat. Oh, goodness me. I'll tell you, I've been having real problems with my computer, and this colored spinny wheel keeps appearing. Right, I've got my chat up now. Okay, good. Everybody can see it. So, GBP USD, how would we mark this up? What are we looking for the week? Well, we're paying attention, first of all, to the camel humps that we have here. So we've got two camel humps. So what does that mean? Is that a double top? Well, we're going to have to zoom out to find out. I've got a previous trend line here, so we'll have a look at what that's telling me. Let me just click to zoom out. Let's spread this out a little bit. There are going to be adverts popping up on the screen. Please ignore them. So, okay, so we can see here that price is in a zone that has come off a previous bullish trend. So it has been going on a bullish trend since when? We are talking about since the 20th of July. Since the 20th of July. So it's been on an upward trend, and it seems to have peaked. So that line there, we're gonna actually mark that up as a peak. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna change from 1 hour view to 2 hour view and see if there's anything further to be seen. So there's nothing there. So let's zoom out even more to 4 hours and see where previous prices. Okay, so we've got an area here. Right, I need to delete this. This is probably from Forex 101. So we can see price it hasn't been up here for a good while, actually. It hasn't been up here since December. So December was the last time it hit those heights. So that tells me that it's probably peaked. So this price being here has peaked, and it will redress the balance in specific areas around where we are now. So there are a few different positions that could potentially be taken here. And again, this will be, so what am I looking for? This will be relative to your own, well, I'm showing you what I do anyway. So here we have what we can now consider a double top. So that gives us a certain amount of confidence. It's come down to this region here, which is a zone where price kind of does something around this area here. So we can either box it out, I could draw a box, or we could do trend lines. So I'm just gonna draw a box. I guess going from here to box out this area here. I guess you could say at the bottom there, but no, I'm gonna take it from here. So we have this area here. So I click, drag, click. So we have this area here where price is kind of floating in between, and I was looking over here, we can see the wick of this candle has touched the bottom of this zone as well. This area is here where it's touched the bottom. So this is what I was looking for when I drew up this zone here. So we've got an area here where price kind of doesn't do much. It does lots underneath, and it does things above it, but it kind of floats around. So this is where price is currently. So there are a couple of options here. You could look to take a position to the bottom of this zone at any time. You could put in a pending, something that's pending, or you could look for the redressing of imbalance according to just looking at, oh goodness, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. You know what? But I'm here. I didn't cancel. I'm tired, but I'm here. So what would we be looking for in terms of this? Now, what we'd be looking for is areas where there is an imbalance. So these candles here suggest imbalance because the wick here has filled into 50% of these larger candles. I'm not sure if you have looked at institutional moves in the markets, or if you've studied how what they call smart money moves in the market. But this is the type of analysis that I'm using here, because those large candles, all they indicate is a huge influx of liquidity from institutions such as banks, hedge funds, etc. So whenever I see a large candle like this, especially I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, when I look at a large candle like this, I know that these are moves that have taken place based on those big money players. So because of that, I will look at something like this here. We'll take it from, and they say that these candles are usually, the balance is usually redressed up to 50% of the length of the candle. And we can see, if we take just eye in about halfway, you can see what has happened here. Price has come up to halfway. So it's gone up away from, and then it's filled in halfway, and it's come back up, filled in halfway, then gone back up. And you'll see that repeated over and over again. So we can have a look at this as a potential area that price could come back to in order to redress the balance, so that it brings balance back to price. And when we talk about balance, it just means price was here, price will come back. It's like a boomerang. So because price was here already, price will come back there again. So this is all we mean when we talk about balancing out the charts. So because price was here, it's still gone up, so it's gone down, and now it's filled up. You could say it's filled up this area with all of these candles here. So that candle has been balanced out. It's gone up and away. It's come down. It's come down. And then these candles, all of these long candles, get rebalanced. The balance is redressed by these other price actions. So because it came down here, as a trader, you could look and say, right, it will fill in, we will rebalance this area here. So coming back to current price, I had a position I told you from last week in this pair, and I know that it went back up, and I took price coming back down. And we go back to our chart, because I took price coming back down from the top to there, and I took my take profit around here, knowing that it was going to mess around here. Now, I still left myself in the position over the weekend. I think it was somewhere around here, I think. And then it kicked off again last night. And yes, and then that would be, yeah. So it would have been around here. So it kicked off again last night. And what it's done is I relaxed, and I thought to myself, do you know what? First of all, on a Monday, the high of the week is usually set on a Monday. So I'm expecting a bearish market for the week. So that means on a Monday, it's probably going to be a bit bullish. So I'm not surprised to see price move up. I'm also not surprised to see where price moves up to, because I'm looking at this candle here again. If it's going to redress 50% of it, it will come up to about here. And look, along this line, it has done exactly that. It hasn't quite gone to the whole length of that candle, which is fine. So this retracement here, there's a few things you could do with that. You can, you could take the measurement from here to here, and then expect that same move to happen from here to wherever the same distance is. In fact, let me draw that out. Draw a trend line. I'm going to draw a trend line from here to here, and then I'm going to move this trend line. So that will then tell me a potential move that price could get to. Okay, so then again, this is going through the zones. This doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen in exactly the same manner, but you'd be expecting around this amount of move. The other thing you could do is you could use a Fibonacci tool to take from the low to the high and see how much it's retraced. In fact, I'm not going to get into Fibonacci today because I want to do a proper session on Fibonacci and how I use it to draw out trend lines and set take profits and stop losses, etc. Linked with what Akil Bay taught, but a bit easier, even though that one was easy. So yes, that was one of them. Sorry, Andrew, remind me again which pair that you were looking at. Because yeah, in fact, let me finish this off while you type that in the chat. Because we're gonna have a look at that and do some analysis on that as well. But just to finish off with this is one way of assessing a potential move. To how much are we talking about here? Shift click. So you could take a couple of positions, knowing that it could break here. Yeah, 1850. 175. So there's a few different moves that could happen there. I'm going to zoom out just to show you that the reality of where price could come to. Yeah, it could fill in there. There's imbalance, more imbalance there. I mean, really, we're talking about a mirror of this potentially, depending. It may not be that much of a trend. We'll have to see. Analyze it, have a look at the Elliott wave, see how many are formed, and see what happens. But really, again, there's two things you could do. You could take one to the bottom of the zone. You could look for a break of the zone, a retest, and then take another one to the second zone. Okay, so let's have a look at Euro Chef and Euro GBP. So we're going off these code Euro Chef, Euro Swiss franc. Okay, so no previous markings. First thing, on the hour chart, we're looking at it. It was at a high. We're paying attention to this area here. It's come down to here, and this is a lower low. There were no previous lows here, so we can assume that this has now moved into a downtrend. Let's zoom out to see what it was previously. Ooh, interesting. There's a lot of sideways movement here. Okay, let me go into 4 hour. Oh, it's 3 hour first. Ooh, that's interesting. Very interesting. What are we on? Euro Swiss franc. Okay. So what am I thinking when I look at this? I'm thinking, one, the Swiss franc at times of crisis is considered a safe haven. So it is a place where people like to store their money because it is, well, it's historically a tax haven, but it's somewhere where people feel their money will be safe. So Swiss franc, gold, and more recently, actually, the US dollar seem to be currencies that people have treated as a safe haven because they are solid currencies. I don't know how long Lewis has been there. Let me name him. These waiting rooms. I need to get rid of them. Okay. So Lewis is joining us now. So having a look at this, what we can see is, hi Lewis, sorry for the wait. I hope you weren't waiting for too long. So looking at this from the 4 hour chart, price has been here before. In fact, price loves this area here. It always comes to this area. Question is, what is it going to do from here? Andrew, were you expecting bullish or bearish behavior for the Euro Chef? Andrew, feel free to unmute yourself. All right, bearish. Okay. Okay, that's good. So the reason why I mentioned the fact that Swiss franc is a safe haven is because that means that the strength of the Swiss franc will usually be quite strong during times like this. So if you're taking a long position for the euro, what would happen is you're wanting the Swiss franc to be weaker. and the euro to be strong. Yeah, and thus the chart will move up. So in looking at this, where are we? June. Yeah, doesn't often happen. We've had a huge bearish trend. When was that from? Until this is from December all the way up until, yeah, let's say the low exhaustion. Okay, so no, it's still carried on. Exhaustion is usually indicated by a long wick. So the bearish trend continued. Let's say, yeah, let's say here, because this pullback is more of a corrective pattern to move up. So let's say to here, so from December to March. And here's the funny thing about this. Whereas on other currency pairs, what you would see is, let me go back to the hour just to confirm that everything I'm saying is correct. Where we July, let me scroll across. April, excuse me, February, right, okay. February, March, right, okay. So see, all of this is March. Now, what you would notice on a lot of other currency pairs is at March, at the start of the lockdown, there is a sharp downturn. It's usually a sharp downturn. A lot of currency pairs, either a sharp downward spike because of the lockdown affected a lot of different countries, right? Okay, so what we see here happening in March, here's the sharp downturn in terms of this currency pair. End of March, let me just zoom in here. We can see here a very steep downturn. But if you look at it in comparison to everything else, it's not really affected the general overall price of this currency pair. So what does this show? This shows that the euro was weaker, yeah, and the chef was stronger. Now, this continues to go down here. Euro weak, chef strong. People are losing confidence in the euro, increased confidence in the Swiss franc. Do you know what? When you look at the Swiss franc and you look at the history of it, you'll realize that the confidence in that currency pair, in that currency itself, is not justified. It just is what it is. There were discussions as to the price of it, and people were, there was potential for it to kind of lose strength, but people decided, no, we're going to value it at this. And yeah, if you look into it, it's very, very interesting. When you ever look at a Swiss franc pair, just know that that's what's going on. It is a safe haven. So the things that may happen with other currencies, you may think, okay, euro, Swiss franc, this is now time to buy the euro. The euro is cheap, let's buy it, it's going to rise up. Actually, no, it doesn't, because Swiss franc is very strong. People are pumping money into it, and therefore, actually, what you're seeing is a downward trend here. So the euro losing value. So yeah, that's just a brief kind of overview in terms of what I think of when I'm looking at these different currency pairs. So what we can see is since July, 9th of July, there was a bullish move of how many pips. So if you don't know how to do this, you hold shift and click on trading view, and then you just drag your mouse to wherever you want to go to, and that will show you the exact amount of pip movement that has happened and the amount of days that has happened as well. So what this shows is increase of 1.83%. That's 194.5 pips. That's 209 bars. So on this chart, that means that's 209 hours. Okay, that's 12 days. 17. Hold on, bars. No, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, the hours would be the amount of candlesticks. So 17 hours, that'd be 17 candlesticks across. I don't know what bars are. I think that's in relation to the, that's not, I don't know. I need to figure that out. I'm going to find out and let everybody know. But yeah, that's how to do. You hold shift, you click, drag, and then you click again, and then you'll see the amount of movement. So that's 194, that's all we need to know. So it's moved up till there. And then what's happened? We've got this huge, just sideways movement. So from here, I'd say to the bottom of here, we've got some naughtiness. I call it naughtiness because it's just not behaving the way you'd like it to. You'd like to say at the end of this upward movement, a nice corrective pattern, and then price will go down. Well, that's happening in miniature movements. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this and just show you what I mean. So if you look at this, we'll zoom in here. At the top of this, we have a corrective pattern. Okay, it's come up, gone down, it's gone higher, and then it's broke low, and then it's come out of that zone, retested it, and come down. Okay, and that's typical of what happens for corrective patterns. There's a few different ones, but this is definitely one of them. It's peaked, it's come down, it's done a fake out, and it's done a breakout, and then it's done a retest, and then it's come down. So you could take a move from here to here. Yeah, 50 pip move. And it's doing all of this in a miniature way. So it's come to the bottom and then it's come up again. And really, it's a lot of consolidation. Now, in terms of what I look out for, again, I've talked about price action, I've talked about money flow. What I would look out for here as well is some nice Wyckoff principle patterns. So when I think about Wyckoff principle, I'm thinking about markups, consolidation, springs, and then markdowns, consolidation, spring down, and then mark up. And what do I mean by that? I mean, because I did mention it here. So I've heard Christopher Terry refer to it as a fake out. Okay, so if we consider this to be a zone of consolidation or a zone within which price has been, right? So what's happened is price has come up to here. I'll zoom in a bit. So price has come up to here. And within this area, it has reached a peak. It's come down again to the bottom. And what you're waiting for is for price to break out of this zone. You would expect, because it's reached a peak high, you would expect price to come down. Yes? But what happens before price comes down is you have what's called a fake out. So what the fake out does is it's usually the institutions that drive price up very quickly in the opposite direction to where we believe it's going to go. So what you have is you have this high. So you have a high, you have a low, you have a higher high, then you have a lower low. So this lower low tells lots of people, okay, this is not a higher high anymore. This is a lower low. So now it's time for our sell position. And then what the institutions do, they drive price up so that people think, oh no, it's created a higher high again. So I've got the wrong position. They put on a sell order, but price has gone totally in the opposite direction. For many people, it's broken their stop losses and stopped them out because they said price was here. Let's put my stop loss somewhere here. So then when they're expecting their sell position to be nice and safe, price goes in the opposite direction. This was called a spring because or a fake out. So it will fake to that position, stop everybody out, and then they'll continue on in that same position. You can see here it's broken out. So those people who are novices, they will say, right, I'm putting in my sell order. Oops, it's gone in the opposite direction. It's hit my stop loss. I need to buy this currency. So they then buy the currency there. Oops, it's gone in the opposite direction. And they end up getting caught in these cycles where they're putting on the wrong trades because they've changed their mind because they weren't confident in their analysis. Your analysis in the first instance is usually right. But what we don't account for is these spring movements. So be mindful of these fake outs. You should expect them at least to balance out previous price. Sometimes with the spring, they will go past that in order to get people stop losses. Expect that to happen. Wait for the move to happen. And like a surfer, get your surfboard and ride the wave back to where price previously was. It will happen over and over again. I'll show you again in another instance. When you see these things, you'll see them over and over again. Once you see it once, you'll see it all the time. So what happens then? price comes here, and what you want is a break and retest of this previous zone here to confirm that we're not going back up there. And what happened? Price came out, retested, and it came down again, did another mini retest, and it came away fully. Okay, so now what we can see here again, I mean, we've got these things all over the place. We've got another little box zone, and what we can see has happened here. We've got a breakout to the downside, and then we come up, consolidating in this area, and then it goes up. So people had seen, yep, it's a downward trend. Okay, it's gone to the bottom. Now it may continue down or whatever. Actually, prices come back up into this place here, and then it's continued up. Again, we've got another section here. And what you'll see is these wave-like patterns where prices move to the side, it's gone up, then it's come down again. Again here, another one. If I move, I'm just going to move this one. Actually, I'm going to keep drawing them. But you'll see them time and time and time and time again. Okay, prices come up here, it's consolidating. Maybe you're expecting it to go up. Your analysis is price is going to go up. Look what happens. It goes down first. Oops, I thought it was going to go up. It's gone down. I've done the wrong trade. I'm going to put in a sell order. Oops, look what happens. It goes up. So these are the types of things that this currency pair does. All currencies do as well. Here we've got perfect balance. It's gone up, it's come down, and then it is balanced out to the penny. Like the price is balanced out nicely. And then from there, it's gone on to do what it's doing. Okay, with all that in mind, what should happen next? Now, this is an ugly one to look for major moves. So I would look for smaller moves on this one. And really, because this to me shows exhaustion, we've got long wicks at the top of this. It shows, let me do this. Okay, so this long wick here and these wicks here shows that's exhaustion. Prices reach the highest that it's going to get. So it's then come down and it's balanced out. And now what's happened is come out and it's retested and it's come down. So this is suggesting a change in momentum. So this should be a bearish market. We should be looking at this as bearish. For how long? Not too sure. So what this would mean is that actually in fact, I want you guys to tell me, I mean, it's a bit more interactive. Are we looking for the euro to be strong or weak if we are looking for bearish momentum? If this is going to be a bearish trend, is the euro going to be strong or weak? If we're to look at the currency strength indicator, euro, Swiss franc, do we want the euro to be strong? Do we want the euro to be weak? What are we expecting? Okay, so we've had, oh yes, that's both Lewis and Maribel saying they expect it to be weak. Arlene saying weak. Okay, that's good. That's good. And Andrew, yes, good, yes. So we're expecting it to be weak. So we're expecting the Swiss franc to increase in strength and the euro to decrease in strength for it to be on a downward trend. Now, for the time that we're in, it being a safe haven, the fact that in terms of, I'm bringing in some fundamentals here in terms of not just the economic announcements, but the economic stability in terms of the euro, in terms of what's happening with COVID, in terms of the reports of businesses, etc. Okay, so we're saying that euro is going to be weak and the Swiss franc is going to be strong. That's safe in terms of the reality of what we're experiencing now. Looking back now at these box zones that I've drawn, we can see price is hitting the top of this zone. Now, again, this could be something that you might want to just repeat this and replicate it and bring it over. Oop. Try and bring this over here. Try and bring this over to the zone. Now, that's something that you might not see as common practice, but the fact that price repeats itself so much, what you'll have is you're either drawing a trend line that is going from here and all the way across, you'll see the patterns, or you will do what I've just done, which is copy and drag over. But I'm just going to put in a horizontal line at the bottom of this and one at the top of this, just to double confirm what I'm trying to do here. So what I'm doing is I'm showing what I want a zone of confidence. I want a zone that if price breaks under and retests, I'm quite confident that it's going to continue down. So that's what I've done in doing this, both with the box and with my trend lines. So we can see price here is coming. Again, just drawing these lines, it makes sense to what price is doing now as well. So Andrew, if you were looking to take a short position on this, you'd be using zones like this to wait for your entry. There is no perfect entry, but there is an entry of increased confidence. So what these lines do, they tell me, okay, I'm not confident if price is up here, so I'm not going to take a position. In fact, I'll probably wait out for the day and see what happens. And probably tomorrow morning, there may be some kind of impulse. There could be some strong moves as well. The crossover 3, close of London Open of US. But yeah, really, I'd be looking for a break off this, retest and down for the short position. And where would we take the short position to? Well, let's look for areas of imbalance and look at where price could go back to. So looking at this this long candle here, and yes, there's a zone there that hasn't been filled in. The wicks have tried to do that. You want a price body to do that, to show proper balance. So this could be a place to take your profit. Let's look back even further. There's another place here, another place here. So again, it's just drawing up these lines to say, if you are going to take a position, these are the places where you would expect to take your profit. And again, I'm doing these on a shorter term, just on the 1 hour chart. Usually I would do these on a 4 hour chart, but because of the nature of this currency pair, I'll take what I can get. Take what I can get. So yes, so if you see here, what I've done is I've got a little target here, and these are little scalp trades. I'll be taking position from here to there. That's like 15 pips. And again, another one. This one's probably about 10 pips. Yeah, 11, yeah, 11 pips. And then the same again from here. Yeah, so it'd be 10, 10, 10, basically. Essentially what we're looking at is 10, 10, 10 in short. And you'd be mindful of, okay, if you've taken your first TP, sometimes if you haven't got momentum, again, this way you look at other indicators, check the momentum. If there is weak momentum, you will take your profit and wait. It doesn't mean your TP2 will not get hit, but maybe there'll be a little dance, a money dance first. It may retrace, and then it will come back. So then you could put in a pending order, do whatever you want, and then take the next 10. And then look at what has happened previously. It could happen. It could be that actually price, the momentum is there with you, and you just take TP1, take TP2 and TP3 all in the same day or at the same time. But be mindful as well of patience. As yes, price has gone to that TP, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go to TP2 straight away. So you can come out, you can wait, you can put alerts, and you can wait for price to do a little retest of this and then come down again. It all depends. So that's the Euro Swiss franc. So we'll look at Euro GBP. That's another one you've asked for to look at. And anybody else, I'll look at one more after this. So if you have a pair you want me to look at and analyze, I will do that in this call. Okay. And if there's any questions, guys, please type them in the chat. So what's happening here? What trend are we in? Okay, this is another one. Similar types of behavior. This is the highest paying currency pair. You're getting 1-to-1 with this. So for your 0.01, you've got a full 10 pence per pip movement. And for your mini lot, 0.1, you got a full pound. And for your standard lot, you've got a full 10 pounds. Interesting. This is very interesting. What am I looking for? I'm looking at imbalance. So I looked at this massive spike up here. I'm looking to see, has it been addressed? Yes, it has been addressed up to there. Has it been addressed further? Yes, it has been rebalanced up to there. Has it been rebalanced further? Yes, up to there. Has it been rebalanced further? Yes, up to the bottom of it. Okay, so you can see, again, looking at this impulse to see that actually there's a massive move here. There are a lot of opportunities to think about when it's going to redress this and balance it out. And again, it's the same with the top zones. It's done it here, it's come back here. And again, it's just balanced out here, balanced out to here, then did a little funky dance. And then it came to redress this. And then it thought, you know what, let's go back and balance here, here again, because it went up for all the way down there. So it's balanced out there. You're starting to see these patterns. I hope you are. I hope this is making sense. In the past, I've sat in training sessions and my head has exploded because of the speed of the instructor and it's gone straight over my head. I'm hoping that is not the case now. And please feel free to stop me and ask questions at any time. But looking at all of this movement, establishing specific trends. Again, we're looking at mini trends here. There was a major here. You can look at the waves there. It kind of came up almost, yeah, that's not quite an equal high, but it's still a higher low. And then it's come down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 5-pattern Elliott wave. All of this has been balanced. And I would say, even from an hour chart, I'm looking at this with the larger time frames in mind. This is an area of somewhat of sideways movement. This is kind of a consolidation area. And what's happened is this looks like a trend. Like, so this could be the downward trend. I'm actually looking at this as a potential spring, like a fake out. There's a possibility that the price could be moving up. Now, again, what I would do based on that is look at higher time frames, and then I would think and consider the currencies themselves, the pairs, what would have to happen for that to be the case. Euro would be weak, Great British Pound would be strong. Is the pound going to be getting weaker? Is the euro going to be getting stronger? If the euro gets stronger and the pound weak, then the price will be going up. So then I would look at other things like the, what do you call it? The, oh my goodness, escaping my brain. I would look at the equivalent of, so DAX is German 30 for anybody who didn't know. So the German 30 is the top 30 businesses in Germany. It's equivalent to the UK, thank you, UK 100, thank you. I would look at the UK 100. The strength of those companies, that's the same as the FTSE 100, right? So you look at these and you check. They are not exactly, but similar to, they equate to the strength of the pound. So when the UK 30 is strong, the UK 100 is strong, that indicates strength in the pound, et cetera, et cetera. So looking at that, looking at GBP USD as well, because USD, the base currency for all pairs, and looking at what patterns are happening there. I know from memory, obviously GBP is getting weaker. So is GBP going to be weak in comparison to the euro? Potentially, yes. So then that could also signify an uptrend. So there's a couple of things in my mind. Like I said, first of all, I'm looking at this as more a zone of consolidation for a longer term position. And if I go to a higher time frame, that might make a bit more sense. So you can see it more clearly as a zone of consolidation here. If you're talking about this being a real trend, a true trend, this is not really a true downtrend. And it's not a true uptrend. It's a zone of consolidation. So if I just box this out so you can see what I'm talking about here. So this is what was in my mind when I was looking at this pair, first of all. So if this, I'm saying if, because again, we're not fortune tellers, but if this is a spring, then that would mean price is more inclined to go towards the upside. Now, what would justify that? Let's have a look here. So we've got some imbalance. We have some imbalance in the local area, in the immediate zone. We've got some imbalance to address up to here, up to here. So why did I put those there? Okay, so this is the top of this zone, and this is 50% of this long institutional candle here. So looking at these, and also I'll need to put one here at the top of this area here. So these are areas that price could potentially go to. Looking at it also, this is coming off the bottom of a potential, I guess you could say this is a bullish trend that's moved up to this area here. And you've still got a higher low here. I know this isn't a higher low in comparison to this one. This indicates a mini downtrend. That's a three Elliott wave trend, but this is still part of a larger uptrend. So you kind of have to look at these as pieces of a puzzle within a puzzle. So although, yes, you could have had a trader take a position from there to there, actually what is the bigger picture? Because the bigger picture really indicates when you have the strong trend, that's where you can take multiple positions in that same direction. If you are taking a mini trend, I'd consider this to be like a short-term, well, we're on the 4-hour chart, so maybe this is a bit longer, but some of these here, you know, you're looking at it saying, yeah, I'm going to take a long position here. Yes, you take that long position, that's nice, but this is part of a bigger movement. So this here is considered part of a bigger movement. So what is this chunk saying in comparison to all of this? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, okay, this section here, what is it saying in comparison to all of this? Because what I like is I like to not just take scalp trades, I like to take scalps within bigger movements. So if I know that the trend is going to be on a certain way, that's where it's going to go. So again, I would keep an eye out for this. I'd wait for a break and retest towards the upside. And naturally, it could be a similar thing. It could hit the top of this zone and come back down again. Again, I would be waiting for a break and retest towards the downside. But because this is a sidewinder, yeah, there's two things you could do. You could have pending orders set up here towards the upside, have a pending order set here towards the downside, and you can have alerts at either end so that you can go back to the chart and have a look. But yes, that would be my analysis there. And again, depending on which indicators you use, and if you notice, I am not using indicators here on this analysis because the indicators to me are additional to price action. The first thing I look at is what is price doing, because the indicators only will tell me what price has already done. It's only the Ichimoku, the IHK cloud that will have the predictive element to suggest where price could be going to. But yes, if nobody has any other pairs, I would say unmute yourself and ask questions as you need to. Andrew, was this helpful?
Yes, sort of. There's some stuff that I need clarification on, like imbalance. I know imbalance to be like the gap between two candles, and then there's like a candle in between. How are you defining imbalance when you're talking about it?
Okay, so what I'm talking about is the fact that there has been a movement. So let's take this area, for example, yeah? So this is a bullish movement going towards the upside up to here. Now, when we look at this, you can look at it in terms of the past, what has already happened, and you can look at it in terms of what is going to happen after that, okay? So for any one of these long candles, when you have these long candles, I have in my mind that they need to be balanced out. It needs to be that price comes back to that area to at least 50% of that zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you.
Yeah. So because, I mean, this is all historic, right? So price has moved up here. If I'm here and price has moved to this peak, there are a few things that I would be looking for in terms of what would happen in the future. One, the price has moved from here to here. It's going to have a pullback and it will potentially continue up. So now from our lines, we can see it's pulled back and it's come up to this zone here. When it exhausts itself, there should be a time period where price will come back, keeping these in mind, to redress this balance, to make sure that all of this is matched. It comes back there. Yeah, because what you have to think about is you have people behind every one of these trades. So everybody that was in this trade here has said, this is a fair price to buy. I'm not selling at this point, I'm buying at this point. Okay, and they've driven price up to there. So if you think about it, those same people that knew this was a good place to buy will know in future, if it's not there, they're not buying. So if it's up here, they're going to sell, right? So because price was up here, they're selling. This is a good price to sell. So they're selling, driving price down. Guess what's going to happen when it reaches some of these zones again? They're going to say, this is a good place to buy. And on it goes. And this is what this kind of balance game is. So it reaches here, which is exactly the same as here. What are they saying to themselves? They're saying to themselves, this is a good place to buy. So guess what? It goes on another bullish trend. So these are the types of things that happen, and it happens repeatedly and in phases like this. So this is like for this time period that we're in here. In this previous time period, when price was down here, everybody's like, hey, look, this is a very good place to buy. So they bought. Certain people are like, no, let's get some stop losses out of here. So they drove prices down. Institutions will make those quick, fast moves, and then it continued up. And that was fine for a certain period of time. And then it reaches exhaustion. And it's like, right, let's drive price back down again. But there's always people behind every one of these movements. So when you see this matching this, just know that you would not be alone to think this is a good place to buy. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Anybody else, any other questions? Or anything specific that we wanted to look at, or something that I've said that you think, what on earth is he talking about? I won't be offended. Yeah, let me know. Okay, any comments in general? Anybody want to say what a nice hairstyle I have or anything? Feel free to unmute yourself, say whatever you feel, and then we can close out the call. I think this will be enough for everybody for this week. Lewis, did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say it was a very good session. I've been caught out by a few of these springs.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So it's good to see them and for you to explain them as well. It's very good for me. Very good.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you found that useful. I'll tell you, when I first discovered that, it was like one of those eureka moments. I was like, oh, it's so annoying when you don't see it, because
yeah, that's it.
you're second guessing yourself.
I've just been a little bit. I haven't been disciplined with patience.
Right.
You get a signal from anyone, and then sometimes I'm a little bit quick to go in on them rather than waiting for confirmation candles.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get disciplined and learn from mistakes at the moment.
Cool. I'm going to stop the recording here because I'm sure people won't